The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Into the Pit or the Vibes Broadcast Network. This show is intended for mature audiences. Please welcome your host, Coyote Knight.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Into the Pit. I am so glad to introduce Miss Sarah Lemos, who's on, if you haven't seen it already, one of the greatest shows on television called Ghosts of Morgan City. And I believe Ben Hanson's on there, and who else is on there?
Jeremy Leonard.
Jeremy Leonard.
And don't forget KD. KD Stanford. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. I'm glad you corrected me. But it is an awesome show. Check it out if you haven't already. Sarah is a psychic medium, and I'm just so thrilled to have her on the show. Welcome, Miss Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, how are you today, by the way?
I'm doing good. There's been a lot of shifts and changes. You know, there's a lot of crazy things going on in our world right now, and so energetically, it's been a bit. But I will tell you that feeling pretty good.
Awesome. So you're going to have another season of Ghosts of Morgan City?
We're supposed to say, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Well, I really enjoy the show, and I feel it's one of the more authentic shows that are on television. And I'll be honest with you, when I first got into the paranormal, I was very skeptical when it came to psychics and mediums and all that. And we actually have two on our team now. And the reason why is because when I went in to talk to her, she told me things that there was absolutely no way she could have known. And they were so personal that I couldn't help but say, okay, she's changed my mind. And to watch her work has really changed my attitude. So do you run into that quite a bit?
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. Like, honestly, like I run into it a lot. I might be at a store and doing some readings for, people at the store, and come out and someone will say, well, I want you to meet my husband, but he doesn't believe in what you do. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's very nice to meet you, Sarah Lemos, da-da-da-da. And, well, can you explain what you do? Because maybe he'll, could you do something, Sarah? Could you do something to make him believe? And it's a lot. And I say, no, I'm not here to help, get him to that place of believing, but I'm absolutely willing to answer questions and kind of explain how we do what we do so it makes better sense to somebody. So yeah, I run into it all the time. And then being blessed with this amazing opportunity to be on TV with an incredible team of investigators, I still run into it quite often.
Wow. So how did you get on the show?
So I have worked with Ghost Hunter Cruises, which is a company that tours and does ghost hunting for the last 6 years. And Ben Hanson came on one of our cruises, and he was another speaker. And we worked alongside Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunter International. We had Carl Pfeiffer from a Ghost Academy. It was really awesome. And then finally we had Ben Hanson. And so I was giving a class one day, and he came in a little late. He had been at the gym, and he kind of like ran in and got a seat real quick. And he looked over at me and smiled. And I'm like, hey, Ben, your grandpa's here if you want to talk later.
Oh, wow.
And Ben said, well, I've never had a reading. And I said, what? Like, Ben, like never? Like, you've been around some of the biggest names, like the biggest names, and you haven't gotten a reading? And he's like, but I'll do it. And I was like, okay, I'm not nervous at all. We're good. But his grandfather was an incredible communicator, and I mean incredible communicator. And it was a really interesting to be able to bring forth the information for Ben. And after that point, Ben was like, you're the real deal. And I'm like, thanks, man. And he's like, no, I mean it. Like, I've seen a lot. You're the real deal. And I said, well, I appreciate that. So he said, so I said, if you need any help with anything, let me know. And this was during dinner. It was really loud. So I just let me know. And he said, okay, well, there's a TV show that I think you should be a part of. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, like, I've already told them. I mean, you're the real deal. I'm like, no, 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 Ben. No, 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 no. And he's like, well, I'm sure they're going to contact you. And I'm like, there is no reason for me to be on TV. Like, what I do, what I love to do, that's great. But, you know, I'm really into helping people. I'm not really into like what I've seen. Like, I'm just not really into that, you know, I'm just not. And then he's like, no, we're going to help people. We're going to help people. And I'm like, for real though? Like, for real? And he's like, for real. So he talked me into it. And it's been amazing ever since. I mean,
Wow.
truly amazing ever since.
See, that's something that I would love to see, you know, just to get into it because of you love to do it and to help people.
Yep.
Where you have so many people that are just wanting to get on television.
Yeah, that was definitely not where I was headed. I have told people, I've worked with so many people on TV that I was like, no, that's some work. No, that's long hours. I like short hours. To be honest with you, I like to sleep in. I like my weekends. But being able to go down to Morgan City to meet the people of Morgan City, to be honored to read the people of Morgan City and hear their stories and learn about their family history. There's nothing like it. I feel more blessed than I have ever felt, because creating a connection and being able to help people through something that really scares people. I mean, that's the reality.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So did you get fed while you were there?
Oh, so I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was, what was it? I think it was episode number 4, 5, where we went out and they did the crawdad boil. I'm allergic. Like, I'm allergic to seafood. And so, like, they were like, hey, have you ever had a crawdad? And I said, well, or what do they call them down there? What do they call them?
Crawfish, crawdaddies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I don't think that's safe for me. And so they were like, but we're going to have a lot. And I'm like thinking, you know, like 20, you know, that's a lot. Like 20 would be a lot. I would think 20. No. They like to dump it straight down the table. Mm-hmm. They like to pull the tails and suck the heads.
Yes.
But the fried pickles are to die for. So I eat more fried pickles than I've ever eaten fried pickles in my entire life down there. Just ranch and fried pickles is my favorite thing. But yes, I was fed out. It's, people hear about Southern hospitality. You don't get it. Like, it's real. Like, people will bring you in, they will get you iced tea, they will sit on the porch with you, they will tell you their stories, and before you know it, you are literally a part of the family. And I've made incredible connections down there, incredible connections that I will never, ever, ever, ever stop loving. I mean, they're amazing people. Amazing. Morgan City rocks.
Well, I'll tell you what, when it comes to real Southern people, you know you run into one when they're like, come on in, I'm going to feed you, and, you know.
Here's my car keys. You need to run to the store. Literally, here's my car keys if you need to run to the store. Oh, yeah. Not an issue. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, we pride ourselves on that, I must say.
Well, thank you. I'm hoping it rubs off on me and that I can offer the same for all those that I meet, because it's a beautiful thing.
Well, you know, when you run into true Southerners, they don't meet a stranger.
Nope.
Never. No,
they meet a person, and you're treated like that. You're treated as thus until you give them a reason not to. No, mind you.
Yeah, there's some. If you tick them off, they hold a grudge.
Yep, for quite a while.
For quite a while.
Yes.
So let's hear about you. I mean, you know, your abilities and everything they're very special, but there's also you aside from that. So, you know, like where you were born, what you love to do, that kind of stuff.
So I was born here in Salem, Oregon, and actually have come back my entire life. So I've seen the world. I've seen amazing places. I've gotten to experience so many treasured places, but I always come back to Salem, Oregon. And I was born and raised here. And I'm 1 hour from the ocean. I'm 1 hour from the mountains. I'm 4 hours from the desert. So I'm very blessed. I feel very blessed to be here. It's very green. We have lots of waterfalls. And so it's just always been home. It's always been home.
All right. Do you have a favorite college football team?
You know what? This always gets you in this really gets you in trouble here. This is more than politics, my friend. This is big. Yes, I'm a true Beaver fan. So
Okay.
you know what? Kiss it, Ducks. I don't care.
Okay. I have to say, if I had to pick one of the two, I was a Ducks fan. But.
Right. But you probably came to it much later. I was raised a Beaver fan. Now you gotta remember, I was raised a Beaver fan. So I will never look at the other side.
Okay. But I'm always true to my Longhorns.
There you go. See? You're raised a certain way. It's just how it is.
That's right. I was raised right.
Me too.
But what are your hobbies and things?
Honestly, I study a lot. So I am one for studying metaphysics, studying thought, studying psychology. I love studying. I can just and creating more education for students, creating ways to help the world. Like that's kind of my gig. But when I'm not doing that, I'm definitely doing yoga. And I love dancing. Dancing is one of my most favorite things ever. And one thing that most people don't know about me is that I'm a haunt actress. So I have been working alongside the Oregon School for the Deaf here in Salem, Oregon, ever since they had the Extreme Makeover. They had the Extreme Makeover came in, Rob Zombie came in, and they did, they redid the whole place. And for the last 6 years, I've been helping that organization by being a scary, scary, scary old lady in the line, talking to thousands of people a night. So I enjoy that. That's the way I give back in my community.
Oh, now see, that's awesome. and it's great to when you meet people like you that haven't let television go to their head. You're still that same level, you know.
But it's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. For those of people that are like, oh, it must be so cool. It's cool. Like I think it's fun, but it's really weird when someone screams, "Ghost Girl," and starts crying in the middle of Walmart. That was odd. But yeah, I think you gotta be, I will always be me. And that's what I tell all my friends and family all the time. A lot of my clientele, it's just like, guys, you're going to get me. Like, this is it. This is what I am. This is who I'll always be. And I think that's what feels right to me.
Yeah. It's also weird when they follow you around with the camera all the time and you always have audio on you, and always remember to turn it off before you go to the bathroom.
You learn real quick. You're like, every once in a while I go, "Sorry, Byron." Our sound guy, Byron. I'll just be like, "Sorry, Byron." It's like, it's all you can do.
I had the privilege of doing a pilot for a show, but it never made it to television. It wasn't paranormal related, but It was so fun. And you just hate it when they tell you, "Can you do this scene over again?"
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Or it's, but I think too, like we caught some pretty incredible, I'm sure you'll talk about it later, but like when we caught something so incredible, like so incredible, it's neat to be a part of something. I mean, and people are like you said, you will do things again. You will, like if you fall, the mic drops, you will get put back to point A. Oh, yeah. But the reality is, it is reality television. I don't care what anybody says. It's reality television. You are you in that circumstance. You are experiencing what you're experiencing.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're in a different situation than what we were. We were building something, and you had to go pick up stuff from the different stores and whatnot. Yep. And how many times can you pull into a parking lot?
Yeah.
How many times can you walk through a door?
A lot.
And it was like, okay, is it right now? Come on.
Yeah.
But it's not scripted. I mean, everything we did was, you saw what happened. I mean, even if you had to do it over, you didn't get a script.
Nope.
You just had to come up with stuff off the top of your head, and you had to know what you were talking about.
And be you. Like that was, and I love that about, you know, it's just you be you. You go out there, you do your work, you be you. And that's something that I celebrated, because it was like, great, because I'm going to be me, and I'm going to do what I can to help every single person, even in the cast, in the crew, anybody that I run to on the streets. That was my goal. My goal was to bring it as much as I could for those months, and just give as much love and attention to each one of our cases as I could. And I think that's the really neat part, is that they're catching all those moments.
Yeah. Did you get wore out from trying to do blocking and stuff like that?
Blocking, what's that?
Well, like whenever you kind of have to shut yourself off from certain things, protect yourself from certain things. Yeah, shielding. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I got you. The thing about me, that's the thing about me, is that I don't usually shield. I would say I would tell my guides, I don't want any information yet, because I'd start getting little whispers, and I'd be like, no. And I would just work with my guides. Guys, not yet. Don't let any information in. Guys, not yet. We got about 20 more minutes. And then I get closer and closer, and I'd be like, okay, we're almost ready. Okay. And then the stuff would just come to me. It would just, because it was just pressure. And then it's like, let's go. And all the information kind of falls out, and it's like, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is that like when you have something whispering to you, or, you know, something appears before you? I mean, yeah. I know everybody has some sort of an ability, just not everybody hones into it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't have that certain ability, but I have others. And it's hard to explain, but, you know, how does that feel? What is it like?
It's very different. Those that like, you know, close dear friends of mine, they know my behaviors. So they'll notice that if I'm looking, like we're eating dinner and I keep looking over at the keep staring at the table, and I'm like, and they'll be like, Sarah, and I'll be like, yeah, it's okay. He's been cheating on her, and I think she's got 2 kids. And what I'm hearing is, like, sometimes I'm just like, I'll get sucked in because somebody gets emotional. And the minute somebody gets emotional, has a big like burst of like sadness or fear, I get a tap. And so I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And people are like, here, Sarah, we're eating tater tots right here, right here. So I will tell you that it's sometimes it's difficult. It's interesting dating wise. It's been a hoot dating wise. But you know, I've done it since I was 5. So I really don't honestly know what it's like to be anything other than me. So I just can hear when people say, oh, you do that? And I'm like, don't you? Like, no, why would I do that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, don't you wear baseball hats to like work out so you can't see the TV screen so that you're not channeling information? And they're like, no, it's too hot to wear a baseball hat. I'm like, well, I don't know how you make it through your workout. Mm-hmm. So just different things, you know, and I'm the only reason I know is because people have pointed it out.
Well, you know, I just can't fathom what that would be like to have that go on. I mean, and certainly there's got to be times where you just got to shut it off and get away from it, right? Or can you do that?
You know, I can do it to a certain capacity. And a lot of people say like, well, that's this or that's that. You know, I really can't speak to them. I can only say that for me, my gift is on pretty much 24/7. Mm-hmm. That's just how I live. I will get away to the ocean. I will get away to the mountains because out there, there's not humans. So my brain goes quiet. Actually going to the movies, when people are focused on the exact same information, their brain waves are kind of smooth and they don't spike. And if they spike, they spike altogether. And so movies have been very helpful for me because I just don't feel people. So those are some ways I get away.
So when it comes to dating, I got to ask this.
Please do. I love talking about this.
Number one, how do you start off, you know, letting somebody know, or do they just automatically know when they ask you out?
No, dating apps have been really funny because like people will ask you like within like, I would say 3 questions normally. What do you do for a living? And I
Right.
always think, oh, I knew this was going to go somewhere until you asked me what I did for a living. It's always really hard because people will be like, a medium what? And I'm like, well, not a medium tall. Like, I'm like a medium. And they're like, oh, and that's okay until I say, you know, I also work for the Travel Channel. And then they're like, well, then you're making that up. And then I'm like, okay. I've literally had people ask me on dates, no joke. So if I get to that point, which is really exciting, right? So you're having a meal with somebody and immediately I can't help it. As they're talking, I'm like, oh, whoops, there's a little more information. Oh, okay, I'm trying just to listen to the person, but I will get information as we go along. And I usually get, so would you know if I lied to you? Yes. Ooh, wait, you would? Yes, if you lied to me, I would know you lied to me. And, oh, like everybody you're like that with? I'm like, yeah, that's usually the end of it. Like, they're like, you know,
That's it.
tapping out.
They're probably thinking, okay, I'll never get away with anything with this person.
Nope. And I'm like, well, that's okay. So I'm weeding you out, right? I'm just weeding you out. But yeah, it's quite entertaining. I will tell you that literally for several months, I wasn't the one swiping right or left because every person I met had several people who had died within a short period of time. So by the time they got to me to the date, I was like, wait a second, your mom is who got me to swipe on you. And then the next date, no joke, when I was just dating, it'd be like, well, we got 3 people. And I'm like, oh. And so I said out loud, spirit guides, angels, no more of that. No more swiping for people who need to talk to their loved ones were helping me swipe so that they could get in front of me so I would give them messages.
That's not fair.
No. It's also not really romantic at all with all these heads looking at me. I'm
Right.
like, oh.
Okay, so we're going out on a date and
Yeah.
You're just here to tell me about my dead loved ones and
Yep.
what they have to say. And you're like, yeah, I wanted to do more, but
Yeah,
you know.
it would have been cool. But,
well, this was nice. Thank
Yeah.
you for the message.
Yeah, exactly. Next. Number
Yeah.
47. Number 47, please.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah.
So are you good at remote reading?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Like remote viewing? Like
remote viewing, or say there's somebody that you're talking to in New York and you're still in Oregon and something comes up that they need a message. Do you get those messages and able to tell them?
Yeah, so I do readings around the world. So for me, people are like, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, as a medium, your loved ones come into my bed, my office, my car, my wherever I'm at, my hotel room, whatever. Your loved ones are coming to me. So it doesn't matter how far across the United States you are, it's going to be just as loud. And I'm going to get the information just as clear. Doesn't matter where the person is because I'm communicating with their dead, not with them.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's got to be cool, but sometimes aggravating at the same time, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
especially with you said about the dating. I mean, surely it's got to be other times you're like, I just wanted to relax. Why do I got to do this now?
Oh boy. So I will literally wake up with, like, I had my head I woke up to this and there was a young man sitting on my bed doing that. And literally my head was bouncing off the bed. And I looked at him and I said, what are you doing? And this spirit looked at me back at me and said, my mom's coming tomorrow. You're going to meet my mom. And I'm like, not if you keep touching my forehead. And he was like, okay. So he just bounced on the end of my bed because he was so excited. And then, so it's like, so that happens, like, it happens quite often. Like, and my dog, I feel bad for my dog because he constantly is like, oh, are you kidding me? Like yelping at, a corner or yelp. And I'm like, oh, and my daughter will be like, Mom, what's going on? And then my mom will be like, then she'll come out and be like, oh, Mom, never mind. The TV will be on and nobody's out there. So I got to tell them if they keep doing that, they're paying the electric bill, So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different. It is different.
I get woke up in the morning like that too, but it's usually from my cat. Like, come on, feed me, feed me. Come on, dumbass, get up and feed me.
See, we go through the same things.
Yeah, mine's a little bit different. I can't imagine somebody doing that to me and then bouncing on the end of my bed.
Because they're so excited.
Yeah, well, my cats do that when I get up and get ready to feed them. Oh yeah, Daddy's feeding us. Daddy's feeding us.
See?
See, my wife has abilities as well. She's an empath, and she's starting to learn a little bit more about the medium part of mediumship, I guess you'd say, of it. And we both do investigations together, and it aggravates the hell out of me because she puts this bubble around me every time we go somewhere to protect me. I'm like, how am I supposed to talk to anything? You're always got this, you're trying to protect me, but I'm trying to learn something here.
Yep.
And everybody else gets to enjoy talking to spirits and getting EVPs, and and I'm sitting here going, okay, that's not fair.
Yep. Well, we can be overprotective. That's true. And I will tell you, there's groups sometimes. If we went to had I think 17 to 20 people at the Lizzie Borden house, and wow. I will tell you, I do not like the Lizzie Borden house. For me, it was extremely active. For me, it was extremely overwhelming. And so immediately I'm like, save everybody. So I'm like, kaboosh,
right,
and try to like pulse out over everybody. And by the time we were done, I was pretty exhausted, but it was just the experience itself. I was like, this is dangerous. Like, this feels like dangerous. Like, it's, so those times I do the same thing, but I'll do it for like a group of people where I'm like, nope.
My goodness. Okay. I have to ask you this. Did Lizzie Borden actually do it?
I have to admit, I believe Lizzie Borden did it.
Okay.
I believe that Lizzie Borden was harmed a lot in her life, and that that's the reasoning behind it. And being in the home itself, and experiencing what I experienced, would suggest that there was a lot more going on in that home than most people know. And, and I don't justify murder, so please don't think I'm justifying murder.
Oh, no.
I will tell you that things that happened to Lizzie, nothing like that was in the movie and stuff like that is what I caught. I just caught that she had been through a lot, and she was done.
It's hard for me to believe everything you hear in the movies. And I've heard different theories about what might have happened, but
I don't think she did it alone. I will tell you that too. I do believe the uncle was more involved than everybody thinks he was. I really think the uncle and her were who did it. But that's just from what I collected. That's my own information from what I sat in when I was there. So,
have you been to the Conjuring house?
I have not been. I have not been yet. I'm hoping that that's one place that I will go to, because I know some incredible people that have in the last few months, because they just reopened it for visits. But it is one that makes me a bit nervous. I'm not going to, going there. I am nervous, but only because of what I've heard.
Yeah.
From other investigators.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I actually read an article, and I can't put 100% into it, but the article that I read actually said a lot of the stuff that supposedly happened didn't even happen at that house.
Oh.
Do you think maybe everything might have got centered there? Because everything that supposedly happened miles over here or miles over here. But I mean, I know that some places do attract things more than others. So
I believe that for so many reasons, because it could say if you had a medium or somebody that was extremely sensitive, or a female going through her pubescent stage, like there could be a lot of reasons that it became a hot spot. And I believe that. Like, I believe that even if it happened so many miles this way, what's the conduit and what's creating that energy, and or what's holding that energy.
Right.
So yeah, I think that houses like that can absolutely just be a place of rest for that type of energy.
Because I know Adam Berry and Amy Bruni went there not too long ago, and I know ghost hunters have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe ghost adventurers have been out there,
Yep.
all the other ones. So it'd be interesting to see, but you know, I don't know what to believe. I guess you'll find out when you get there, huh?
Yeah, that would be really neat. It would be, there's a few places I would like to go, and that's one of them that I would just like to even feel the outside of the house. Just put my hands. I'm very big into that. You might have seen that in the show. Like I put my hands on everything. I could get put my hands on it. I want to feel it because I want to experience what whatever is there is experiencing also.
I got you. You ever been somewhere that you actually disproved what supposedly happened in that place?
I've been in a lot of places where I was like, is this on? Hello? Like, where I was like, no, for real, you guys say this place is haunted? Like haunted. Like it's haunted. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, ooh, like something happened to you here? Like it'll just be vacant for me. Like I won't get anything. So I always listen to their stories and their experiences. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't feel anything that you're experiencing here. And then there's a lot of times where I'll be like, well, we were at one of our investigations with our group from the tour company. And we went into this really haunted location, and I get in arguments with people, humans. So they'll be like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, may I ask a question? And they're like, yes. I'm like, where are the stairs at? And the lady goes, I'm sorry, ma'am, there are no stairs. And the spirit goes, yes, there is. And I'm like, my understanding is that there is a flight of stairs here. Now, the woman again says, no flights of stairs here. I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know what you're speaking about. Well, now the spirit's like, I said there is stairs here. And so I'm like, any chances there used to be stairs here? And you can hear, then a manager comes out from behind his desk, peeks his head out the door and says, yes. There was a set of stairs that was right here where you guys are standing. And we knocked them down. We sealed off the thing for safety reasons. And I said, thank you. Now we can keep going, because they'll do that where it's like, yeah, no, I want to talk about these stairs because this is what happened to me on the stairs. And so that story no longer, because they don't tell it because they don't have stairs to point at.
Right.
Well, the spirit still has their story to tell. So yeah.
That's actually pretty amazing. That makes a believer out of people, doesn't it?
Yeah, it cracks them up too, because they'll be like, they'll wait for me now. Like when we go on tours, they'll be like watching me, and I'll just be like, do, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I've got a question. Or like in the back, and everybody's like, yeah, do it, Sarah, do it. I'm like, so, yeah. So I just, because they talk to me and they're like, let's talk about this experience. And sometimes people forget, they just leave it out because it's not easy to see. So.
Right. I hate getting away from what you're doing, but we went to a place, and the medium that works with us, we call her Naeli. She was talking to this lady, and we were sitting in this room, and mind you, my K2 hadn't done anything all night. And as Naeli's talking, the K2 meter starts moving, and she tells the lady, she goes, you have an aunt that's dead, that she was basically excommunicated from the family. She had a child, but she was so wild, and she went out and she partied too much, and she had this kid, the kid died, and she had gave it away or something. And the lady's sitting there going, no, nothing like that's ever happened. No, I'm sorry.
I get that a lot.
And then about 2 days later, I get a phone call, and she goes, you won't believe this. I talked to my mom, and she said, yes, that I had an aunt, but we don't talk there. They didn't talk about her because she went out and she drank too much, and she did drugs, and she, was sleeping around, and she had a kid, and she just abandoned the kid, and she was freaking out. And
yep.
That freaked me out, because I'm like, okay, she just off the mark altogether. And then to have that confirmation blew my freaking mind.
Yep. And confirmation for me, I don't let my clients tell me. yay or nay. Most of the time I don't want to know, because really I'm just the phone. So I'm just the instrument that Spirit's using. So I don't take it like personal if I get something wrong, because I didn't get it wrong. I'm just saying what they're saying and telling you what they're saying. And a lot of times you'll get that where someone is heck bent on one thing that their kid did. And I had a lady that was like, I just want to know the number of his football jersey. That's all I want. And so I was like, okay. So I look at her son and I say, she really appreciates this reading, but she needs to know you're here, and she wants to know by the number on your football jersey. And the kid said, it was like 216. And I'm like, dude, I'm not into football, but I know that there's no number 216. And so I turned to her and I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. He's telling me 216. And she's like, okay, thanks, Sarah. And I said, I understand. She's like, you did really good, but and I said, ma'am, I understand. Like, I respect you. And then again, her son says, say it again. So I said, ma'am, he wants me to say 216 again. 216. She said, all right, Sarah, thank you. I'll pay the front desk. And I'm like, like one of those days where you're just like, 2 weeks later, someone called on the phone, hysterically sobbing. And I was like, hello, this is psychic medium Sarah. Ma'am, calm down. And she was like, 216. I said, oh, yes, ma'am, I remember you. And she's like, that was the psalm we sang at his funeral. And that is the prayer that we read at his funeral. He could give two shits about his number on his back. He wanted his mom to know that he was there during the funeral.
Oh my God.
And so thank goodness she figured it out, put the pieces together, and she was like, I know you talked to my son that day, Sarah. I know you did. So sometimes I'm like, yes, because then I know that it was validated enough for her to know she talked to her son. I know she talked to her son.
Well, what's amazing is when Naeli will tell us something and like a year later, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you actually see stuff that's going to happen?
Yeah.
I wish one of y'all would be able to give me the lotto numbers.
Yeah. I've had friends to ask me that before, and I'm like, well, would we give it all away? And they're like, how about we give away most of it? I'm like, nope, then I'm not doing it.
I hear you. Well, you know, I do want to make it easier for my wife, because right now she's the main breadwinner. And of course, I've already told you about my arthritis and whatnot. And unfortunately, I'm not able to do the work that I used to do.
Right.
Not that I'm not trying to do something different. I do want to learn a new vocation. And I'm hoping that the network will be successful. But if I ever was to win, I just want to make life easier for her.
That's beautiful.
You know?
She's got a good husband.
Well, you know, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
Sure it is. I wouldn't know.
No, she's been so good to me. This is my second marriage, and it just seems like the universe put us together because we're so like-minded. And I'll tell you a real quick story, and then we'll get back to you. But when we were first supposed to meet, she called and canceled our date. Mind you, we've been talking for weeks, and she canceled our date. And here I am thinking, oh God, I've found another one that's just going to blow me off, and you know, the heck with you. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? But then she starts texting me through the night. And so it's getting my curiosity up, because I'm like, okay, she can't be out with another guy if she's constantly texting me. So I'm like, what are you doing that you had to break our date? And then it got silent for a while. And I'm like, uh-oh, it's over. Then I get a message. She goes, well, if we're going to go out, I might as well tell you. She says, I'm a paranormal investigator, and I'm out on an investigation. It was kind of an emergency case, and I couldn't turn it down. Well, my next thing is, okay, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'd always wanted to do, is to go ghost hunting, you know. Since Ghost Hunters came out, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this.
Yes.
And I said, one day I'm going to do a hunt with the Ghost Hunters. Well, we dated for quite a long time, and then we finally decided to move in, and then I asked her to marry me, and we got married, and we went to the Ohio State Reformatory for our honeymoon. And we hunted with Samantha Halls,
Wow.
Dustin Parry,
Yes.
Dave Tango, Steve Gonzalez,
Wow.
and Amy Allen, and Chip Coffey.
Wow.
And so there's dreams that came true because I met her.
Yes.
And then I got to be on the team. We kind of had a falling out with them, went to another team, didn't like it, went to another team, didn't like it, and was like, why don't we just do it ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got this great bunch of people that have either come from other teams or just, you know, like the mediums that we work with.
Right.
And so here it is. The universe has put us together. We're doing something together that we both enjoy. I don't have to hide the fact that, you know, I have different beliefs than most people.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say it. When I talk to God, I talk to Odin.
Yeah.
He's my God. And then I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do podcasting. And I got to meet Marcus Harvey and Ben Hansen. Yeah, of course, I get to meet you. I've had Susan Slaughter on the show.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I got a list a mile long. Shane Pittman.
Wow.
Very awesome guy, by the way. If you don't know him, you should meet him.
That's awesome.
We had Steve Shippey, who's on the new Haunting in the Heartland. I could go on, and I've made a lot of good friends along the way. I mean, Shane and I still talk back and forth. Patrick Cross talks back and forth with me, and it helps me to evolve. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So that was my story. I'll stop talking.
No, I love that story. It gives me hope.
Well, I so much believe in the universe and what it means for us to do. And I really believe that we were meant to meet. And now I have 2 new daughters. I don't call them my stepdaughters. They're my bonus daughters.
Yes. And
one of them just had a new baby.
Yay.
So now I have a new grandson.
It's so exciting.
Plus my oldest daughter, she's 27 now. She's got one that's 4 and one that's 9. So I'm just happy grandpa.
That's so great. So good. I can't wait.
The universe has put me here and I get to talk to you.
So cool.
So I know you have stories like that. You have to have stories like that.
Well, it's funny. When it comes to myself, it doesn't work that way. I really am good at helping other people. I'm really good at foreseeing, very good at foreseeing other people's lives and options that may occur. My timelines are not always spot on, but because people make different choices, and so I can't really change that. But for me, not so much. For me, I believe everything happens for a reason, but honestly, I've never had like those type of moments. Not yet.
It's going to happen. I know it is. It's got to happen. The universe is using you for a purpose. It's got to have something, a reward for you.
I hope so. That would be so great. Other than, I really do feel rewarded by doing my work. And it's caught me on fire. Like I love what I do. I love doing readings. I love teaching. Teaching's a real big one for me right now. I have 100 students that I have underneath me, training, because when I came into my gifts, being 5, that's one thing, but when you're 13, that's a whole nother thing. And when you hit 27, it's a whole nother kit and caboodle. And I remember asking around, like, who can help me? And I remember calling a lady who was a medium, and I said, ma'am, I need your help. Now, mind you, this is before, Teresa Capudra had come out on her show or anything like that. So when I called this woman, she was like, no. I said, but I'm seeing dead people walk through my wall. Can you please help me? And she said, no, you'll take my business. And I just remember thinking, someone's got to help sensitives. Somebody's got to help sensitives. Somebody's got to help people like me. You can't just be out there seeing these things and experiencing these things and not knowing why. So I did a lot of radio, and then I moved into just developing online courses for people so that they can feel safe. I think that's important.
if somebody out there that's listening to this or watching it on YouTube, where can they actually go to do that?
So you just head over to mediumsarahlemos.com. It has all my information. Everything you could think of is there. Some of my videos, podcasts, stuff on the education programs, on readings. But yeah, just at mediumsarahlemos.com. And that's LEMOS.com.
Okay, so they can get your social media and everything right there?
Yep.
Sweet. Well, I did learn that somebody else is using your Sarah Lemos on Instagram, and I learned it wasn't you.
So the funny thing is there's several people managing accounts and things like that where they were like, well, do you want us to do this? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, go ahead. But I don't know what you guys are doing. We have like fan people doing fan pages and all kinds of stuff. So.
Well, that's got to be awesome. That's a great feeling knowing that people are out there going, oh my God, this person, I love this person so much. I want to do something like a fan page.
Yep. It does mean a lot. It means more than I can tell you. And mostly like what I love is like when you meet a fan of the show and they're just ecstatic. They're ecstatic because you're doing something that they've always kind of felt. They may not have shared it with anybody and they just watch it on TV. And so when they meet you, they're like, they finally get to be free. They get to be who they are. And they get to be like, I'm like you. I've seen things. And it's like, you have, tell me about it. And pretty soon they're just like glowing because they get to tell their truths. They get to talk about something that people don't talk about, or they don't get to have to be shamed at the end of it or feel icky when they walk away from me. So like, that's been just something that's been so close to my heart, is just allowing people to be who they are when it comes to the paranormal and when it comes to metaphysics.
Wow. And have you got one of those nutcases that are just totally off the wall when they meet you?
Well, I have to admit, things have gotten a little weird. In situations where I'm like, wait, what's happening? Like, wait, you paid to have lunch with me? That's no. You don't need to do that. Like, that doesn't need to happen. Like, we can have a reading, but again, it's those experiences where you go, oh, okay. It was really nice to meet you, or you excuse yourself, or there's times where I surprised Katie in Ohio. Nobody knew I was coming except the person that was putting on the event. And he was on stage and alongside the group from Tennessee, Wraith Chasers. Yeah. Wraith Chasers.
Yeah.
And so they had gone, and so I had gone and I hid up in this balcony, and it was packed. Like, the place was packed, and they brought Katie on, and he was talking about Ghost of Morgan City. And so I just came out on this balcony. He was on the stage below. And I'm like, hey, KD, what you doing this weekend? And he looks up at me and he's like, Sarah. And you could see it on his face. Everybody started crying. Like,
oh my God.
The whole audience was like crying. And I was like, so as I get down there, people are like wiping their tears away. And it was really cool. So I think that's the weirdest thing that's happened, is where like the whole auditorium was like wiping their tears away. And I was like, this is so awesome.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was great he was like, what are you doing this weekend? And I'm like, nothing, cause I was like scared. I'm like, I'm a horrible liar, by the way. So I'm like, nothing. Well, I always write a lot more to the guys. Like, he's like, okay, question mark kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm really bad at this. And he's like, well, why don't you go like, this is so our team. Well, why don't you go see if you can find a Sasquatch? You live in Oregon. And I'm like, sure, Katie, this weekend I'm going to go out and just go find a Sasquatch. I'll be right back. And then we got to surprise him, and it was really cool.
Oh, do you know Ronnie LeBlanc? Or LeBlanc?
I met him.
He's been on the show too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I've always had that doubt about Bigfoot, but listening to these guys, I kind of wonder.
Yep. Yep. I'll be very honest with you. I never believed in Bigfoot. Like, just because I'm a psychic medium doesn't I believe in everything. Like, I have things where I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But I had a really crazy experience. And so after that experience, I definitely believe in Bigfoot. But yeah, meeting those guys, they're incredible, and they really believe in what they do. Like, meeting them, is it Bubba or Boo Boo or Bobo?
It's Bobo.
I met him, Bobo.
Bobo Fay.
So sweet, the sweetest man. And like talking to these guys and seeing what they do, and it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Do you know Carolyn Corey?
Carolyn?
She's on Ancient Aliens.
No, I haven't met her.
I did not know that she was a medium as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
That popped up during one of the interviews, and I'm like, oh wow. And she's telling me all this stuff, like, you know, get away from the medicines that I've been taking and other things that I need to do. And I'm like, okay, do you ever work with people like that, that are on other shows or, you know?
Oh
popular?
yeah, there's some, again, stay tuned. That's all I can say is stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
That's what they say. So I just say it back. I'm a good little parrot. But yes, this year has been amazing. I can tell you that there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more that'll be out this year where I got to work with some pretty neat people in the industry. And I like it. I like working with different investigators. I like working with other people who have totally different thoughts on paranormal. I like it when people don't think the same way I do. I love it because it gives me an opportunity to learn. And that's what I truly want, is just that learning experience.
What I loved was when we went to Ohio and we met Amy Allen, who I just absolutely love her. She talked about aliens, and which is one of my favorite subjects in the whole world, because I'm like, if they come, I'm going with them. I'm packing up and I'm getting on the ship and I'm out of here. Do you have an opinion about aliens?
Yeah. So for me, aliens have always been, it's kind of weird. The ghost thing always was, and so has the aliens. Now, why? I can't tell you why with the aliens. Like, I can't tell you why. Ghosts, because I've seen them all my life. But aliens, it was just like, well, of course there is. And it was like, of course there is. And then I saw a craft. Two crafts on the same night. And that will do it to you. And I was there with two other people that actually Barry Fitzgerald was one of them. And
no kidding.
He was standing right next to me when we experienced the craft come in from one side and then shoot out, and then come in from the opposite side and shoot in. And so for me, then I couldn't. I know we have either that or I believe in aliens. I believe in aliens.
Is it quite possible that people with your abilities might actually attract them?
I believe we do. I believe that we attract a lot of things. I think it was funny too in paranormal, trying to get on a team, like, not even joking, 10 years ago was impossible. Nobody wanted you. Nobody wanted a medium on their team. And that was the hard part, was trying to get on a team and say, look, no, I can see things. And plus I'm a battery for you guys. Like, have me around. Like, I can talk and create and connection and things like that. But for me, I do. I feel like a lot of times those of us that is open, and that's the only way I can explain it, our light shines pretty bright.
I love that. So I'll just have to start hanging out with y'all a little more often so I can get out of here, right?
Yeah. We'll just have to distract your wife so that she doesn't shield you. We'll be like, look over there.
Right.
Quick, this way.
Well, it's amazing, because I think that every team should have a medium on
I think so too. I really do.
And the reason is because not every investigation can be done the same.
No.
People try to do that same pattern everywhere they go, and ask the same questions. And we had an incident where we went to Seguin, and we were actually right down the street from the Magnolia Hotel.
Wow.
And the house was bought by a lady that was going to change it into a bed and breakfast.
Did she get sick?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I did reach out to her again the other day, because I've had her on the show before, and that's how we actually got to go investigate this place. But the medium that works with us, Nayeli, she straight out said, you don't need to do this. You need to get away from this house. This is not a good place. And she's hell-bent on, I'm going to fix this place up. Well, we went in to see what was there, and mind you, it didn't seem like a whole lot was going on, which I'm pretty sure was my wife's fault. But, but we just noticed that the K2 meter, or no, I'm sorry, not the K2. We had the, oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the
REM pod?
device. The REM pod, yes. So we
We are
had
helpful. We are very helpful for those mind slips, just so you know. So I got your back.
you. Well, then I need you around all the time because I got CRS badly.
Gotcha.
But anyway, we had one of the lights that doesn't normally go off started beeping.
Yeah.
And somebody said, you know what, this sounds like Morse code. So I got an app and I started typing in what I wanted to say, and I set it up there, and it was communicating back and forth.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't know what the heck it was saying, and it was going really fast. And even people that read Morse code couldn't read it because it was going so fast. You know, but everybody felt like that was the same thing. So, and the amazing thing is on the way up there, Naeli said, for some reason, I'm hearing Stevie Nicks. I don't know why, but I'm hearing Stevie Nicks. So the next day we decided during the day we were going to go check out the little town because it's the first time we'd ever been to Seguin. Went into one of those little shops, you know, little mom and pop shops. They had a necklace, or not a bracelet, and it said Seguin on it, and underneath it was the dashes and dots from Morse code that spells out Seguin.
Whoa. Which
blew my mind. And then I noticed Fleetwood Mac was playing on the radio.
That is so cool.
So everybody get a medium.
Yes, I agree. It's really, we're fun. We are fun. I will tell you, stuff like that happens to me all the time, where I'll have like a song or something and I'll say it out loud, and then we get there and it's like those kind of things happen to me a lot. But I completely agree with you. Everyone needs a medium. Every team needs a psychic medium.
Well, I'm true to my wife, but I worry too. Naeli's going to find out if I did something wrong anyway. So, nope, not for me.
That's right.
I'm happily
Speed dial, baby. Speed dial.
That's right. And they talk every day. So, well, believe it or not, our hour is up.
It's awesome.
It has flown by. So we can find you at
mediumsarahlemos.com. I'm also on Facebook. Again, mediumsarahlemos.com. And if you want to find me on YouTube or anything else, it's always just Sarah Lemos. So I'm out there.
Exactly. And we appreciate you being here. If you would, everyone that's listening or watching, get on Instagram. We're at the Vibes Broadcast, and on Facebook, we're the Vibes Broadcast Network. We have links to all of our podcasts, the YouTube, our other social media, and our website. And we actually have a psychic that is part of the network. Her name is Jen. And Jen has worked on the website, and it is amazing.
Yay.
We love her to death.
Yay.
And so hopefully y'all can meet.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But thanks everyone for joining us, and please stay tuned. We've got other great people just like Sarah coming on. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You got it.
Thank you for joining us on Into the Pit. Please follow us on Facebook at the Vibes Broadcast Network and Instagram at the Vibes Broadcast.